lives would be lost. For what? You lied to the American people. Again, lie after lie after lie. That's all you've got. And we're the ones paying for it. Then we've got a positive one, I think. Thank you, Mr. President, sir. Hashtag MAGA, thank you. And then Ryan Dawson's. Ryan Dawson's is up there. The only base you bombed was your own. MAGA is dead. Good job, Elon Musk, getting Ryan Dawson's response near the top of the responses. Then there's a Trump army one, the greatest president of all time, absolutely. Ashton Forbes says, cook them. Proud elephant, thank you, President Trump. Then we got a few diagrams that don't put Trump in a good light with Netanyahu. Hodge twins. Only thing we can do now is pray for peace. Red, at Red Real, go POTUS go. A strong message to the world. Bravo, President Trump. We come in peace, shoot to kill. And then Vivek Ramaswamy. Unfortunately, it's the truth. We voted to end the endless wars and instead got dragged into another one. To serve Israel's agenda. This isn't what we signed up for. It's betrayal, plain and simple. Alex Jones. What you voted for, what you got. I hope this is not the case. And that was a retweet of an Alex Jones post from 6/18/25, and yeah, it's just been proven true. Draven Noctis, you will be remembered as the worst president in American history, and not by the typical Democrats and liberals who have to hate you by default. I'm talking even the conservatives and right wing will see what you are now. Everything you claim was a lie, and you're using your second and last term as president not to help America, but instead using this precious time and resources to instead serve Israel and get Americans killed in more needless wars in the Middle East, something you promised not to do. You will be remembered for what could have been and the ultimate Israeli Trojan horse, a complete sellout of America to a foreign country. Maybe Elon was right about you. Maybe Israel has something on you, because I can't explain your insane anti-American actions any other way. Nothing about this serves America. We are a world away. It's all for Israel. You should never sleep again. You should be disgusted when looking in the mirror. Any American lives lost from here on out are on your hands. MAGA my ass. Wow. That just about sums it up. Andrew, well, this is Tate News, at Tate News. I got a picture of Tate. I don't know if it's Tate's account. It's not his personal account. Anyway, bombing someone and then calling for peace. Were the Epstein files at? Kitto, I knew you were a funny loudmouth, stupid dog, but holy hell, I didn't know you're this level of idiot. You need to be overthrown and should be in hell. Wow. Then someone says Iran should never have nukes. Just like, you know, that person, if Twitter had existed when Saddam was about to be invaded, that person would have written Iraq should never have weapons of mass destruction. That's how well researched that person is. The biggest terrorists in the Middle East are the globalist folks. Over 5 million dead, collateral damage, wars on terror. Iran has never invaded a neighbor. You got to go back to the 1700s to find anything like that. They were manipulated into a war by the globalists, by Kissinger, with chemical weapons, bombing whole villages, so the globalists could make money. Divide and conquer. Brzezinski, we've looked at it this week. Continuation of divide and conquer. Regime change. Chomsky as well said it's got to be regime change. You've got to be a client state, or they're going to bomb the crap out of you. So someone here, it's called lyingforjesus.org. has retweeted a Trump tweet from November 10, 2013. Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate property. Not skilled. Oh my God, folks. Can I get this one on the screen? Oh, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Can I make it a bit bigger? 1 second. They're making Trump eat his own words here. Here we go. Share this tab. This is so funny. There you go. Trump is not in control of US foreign policy. The neocons, the globalists, the elite dynastic banking families are calling the shots here, folks. There's too much money at stake. This is above the Donald's pay grade. That's why we have been able to predict this as it's unfolded. And all Trump can do, Trump can even go against these guys and get JFK'd. At this point, these are the only two choices he's got. He can either go against them and get JFK'd, or he can try and save face like he is the Roman emperor. Generals are out of control. He can either side with them, save face, or run the risk of what happened to Julius Caesar. And you too, Brutus. You would stab me in the back. You would take me out, get me out of the way, so someone more in tune with the globalist interests can take over. It's a shame. It's a sad day for the world. All right. Next one is from Colin Crypto. Now is the time for peace, right after bombing another country. Laugh my ass off. You can't make this stuff up. Yes, Colin, you are correct. So we have got here mirthful moments again. Thank you, President. So Representative AOC says Trump strikes on Iran without congressional approval are grounds for impeachment. See, the very people who tried to assassinate Trump have got Trump in a war whereby now Trump could get impeached. So they might want to just get Trump out of the way. Get someone more in tune with the thinking of Hillary Clinton in power. And Trump's fallen right into it. Next one is from Carl ZA91. Why don't politicians just go in the ring and fight each other? What does the whole world have to do with all their egos? Next one, Worldwide Wade. Big mistake. Didn't you get elected because you promised no more wars? Next one's a smoother. How to avoid World War III. Oh my God, there's another one. Got to show you this. All right, let me share this tab instead. Wow. Going back to Trump again. In order to get elected, Barack will start a war with Iran. And then Barack will attack Iran. I predict that President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled. Wow. Utter hypocrisy, utter egg on the face. So next tweet, now American bases become targets for Iranian missiles. You've made the wrong call, Donald. Indeed, this is how it goes up the escalation ladder. And this is exactly what the globalists want. Next tweet, almost all of the homeless veterans are veterans of wars in the Middle East. And they show a photo of 3 blocks of homeless on the streets in West LA. Why didn't you spend that money on the bombs on rehousing the veterans? Just like here in the UK, They're spending all this money on the migrants. The veterans are homeless. We're bombing Iran. It's only a matter of time before the UK is involved. They're already involved in intelligence, logistics, etc. planning. Could have spent that money helping homeless veterans. It's disgusting. Instead, they're going to create even more migrants now as people flee Iran and come here and come to America. All right, so next one is from Miss Jemima. We don't want to continue to be involved in endless wars. This isn't what we voted for. Yeah, absolutely. Next one says you're owned by Israel. Next one's got Trump as a donkey face with Netanyahu riding him. Is Trump a warmonger? Next one says. And then a few people are saying that Trump's made the world a safer place. I imagine that, you know, these people that saying Trump has made the world a safer place, there's got to be a lot of money being spent right now on psyops, on people sat in rooms just going around putting supportive comments on social media platforms, including X. Bush killed millions. Bush was worse. That's true, Michael, because we're looking at the start of the war with Iran. And you can see the end of what happened with Iraq. Bush killed millions, 5 million to be precise, under the war on terror that Bush started. But how many millions are going to die now as this goes up the escalation ladder with the globalists bombing Iran and China and Russia stepping in? And we're going to get thoughts on this with an ex-army general at 2 p.m. UK. So I'm just reading the live chat right now, seeing what you guys are saying. Nathan, I say to hell with Trump and the US empire. Indeed. Trump is now elevated to omnipotence, the giver and taker of life and death. Yeah, Nathan, I knew as well. I was thinking when I think it was Ray was on last night and he was being overly optimistic about the 2-week thing. I knew that was a ruse and it was probably going to happen by Monday. Alexander, I understand why the Iranians are chanting slogans. This is preposterous as well. You can take extremists from any country and say they are chanting death to anyone in the world. You can find that anywhere. Anywhere. What about Saudi Arabia? How are they treating women? What are their human rights like? Who are the extremists in Saudi Arabia chanting death to? But we're not bombing the crap out of them. It's an absolute phony BS lie to say what extremists are chanting in any country justifies us bombing the crap out of innocent civilians and calling it collateral damage. No, it's just a pretext. So Richie's saying our Army and Marine Corps ground forces are as small and weak as they've ever been. Yes, indeed, Rich. They can't even get enough people of military fitness in our countries to sign up because they're all sat around on computers, shriveling their bodies. And they think they can just run these wars video game style. It's preposterous. Yes, Nathan, Iran was prepared and moved essential equipment. Very little damage may have been done indeed. We'll find out more when we're back at 2 o'clock. You know, Iran, they've known this has been coming for decades. They've been planning for this. And China and Russia know as well. And they're now going to up the ante to help Iran. They're not just going to allow the steamrolling of that country, shock and awe style like with Iraq. No way. And I don't think Iran's just going to jump to the peace negotiations. That is a way America can just justify more bombing. We're going to give you an impossible requirement to fulfill. So it looks like we're the good guys. And when you don't fulfill it, we're going to bomb you, and say it's your fault. And now when you don't come to the peace table, it's your fault again. It's Iran's fault, folks. They're getting bombed. Iran's fault. What the hell do they have on Starmer? Just Ukrainian male models. That's all we know of. God knows what else. Steph, every president of the US ultimately resorts to military force. Because they're not in control of it. It's not even them resorting to it. They're given a script. They could stand up like JFK. Bam, you're gone. Or you could save your life, save face, whatever it is, and just go with the flow of it, which is what Trump is doing. When it comes to the military, he is a puppet, folks. This was unstoppable. Just like David Icke has been saying, it was unstoppable. Oh, thanks, Teresa. Amen. Well put. Yeah. Nathan, Trump attacks Iran unprovoked and says, now is the time for peace. What a joke. Might as well have just wrote peace bombs in graffiti on the side of those missiles. Peace bombs. What would I do? Good question, Megan. What would I do? You know, I would want to have peace in the Middle East. They want divide and conquer. They want the Brzezinski agenda of everyone just fighting so that the US can control. This comes from the British Empire. Divide and conquer the world enables a tiny little island to maintain control. So the globalists want divide and conquer so they can make money off it. They can subjugate these countries. They can have dominance, hegemony. And sadly, we've just got a history of this throughout the world. Every century, there's something immutable in human nature that takes us to world war. And the superpower ends up self-destructing. So if I was in power now, I would point out what happened to Hitler, what happened to Napoleon, what happened to Spain, when they tried to take over too many countries. There comes a line that they cross. And then the other biggest powers of the world step up and put them in check. Just like we put Hitler in check, just like we put Napoleon in check, just like we put Spain in check. And those countries tend to go into a decline after that, and other countries take over as global powers. So if I was in charge, I would want to prevent that from happening. I would stop overreach. I would stop foreign wars. I would take all the money that the military industrial complex is sucking up from the taxpayers to help countries like China is doing. The business of China is business. They are helping these countries grow economically. But the globalists view that as a threat. They want to bomb these people into the Stone Ages. They don't want them to catch up economically, which is insane. The Chinese are doing the right thing. They're helping these countries develop economically. So I would be employing that model. And then, hey, guess what, folks? If you don't bomb the crap of countries back into the Stone Ages, they don't want to leave their countries and flood us with migration. But the globalists profit from that as well. They make trillions bombing them. They make trillions housing them. Here in the UK, the housing contracts, all of the accessories they give them. They should be giving that to the veterans, helping the homeless, the mentally ill. They are the policies I would adopt, Megan. So John is saying this is going to finish Trump. Mel, I'm against war. It will affect us in so many ways. Humanity should rise up in every country and say no to war. Over 1 million people marched against the Iraq war in this country. They did it anyway. It ruined Tony Blair in the eyes of many. Ryan Dawson says they have compromising material of one of Trump's daughters. Wow. Wow. Well, God bless Ryan Dawson. Ryan Dawson was supporting Trump. Tucker was supporting Trump. Candace was supporting Trump. But one of the biggest issues for all of us is not taking the taxpayers' money for the benefit of the military elites to bomb the poorest countries of the world. There is no justification from it. We do not believe that your pretexts are true. And even if your pretexts are true, even if Iran was days away from having a nuclear weapon, does bombing the crap out of it and killing its civilians solve the problem? Does regime change, taking Dracula out and putting Frankenstein's monster in, solve the problem? No. You get another Libya on your hands. So even if what Trump said when he was reading off that script about Iran being evil, 1,000 people have been killed, etc., even if that's true, does bombing the crap out of the country remedy that? No, it does not. It makes the situation 1,000 times worse. If you kill innocent civilians, you create people who want to fight against you. Their family members and friends primarily are going to be signing up. And then we're just going to call them terrorists. No, this is just how the world is completely destabilized. And it's a closer step to World War III, folks. People have been laughing at me, some of them in the chat. Why are we being so incendiary with these thumbnails? Why are we scaring people with the prospect of World War III? It's coming on our doorsteps. Go back 100 years. Look how complacent everybody was before the world wars started. Doing the cha-cha. You know, there was that huge boom in the 1920s before the Great Depression and the rise of nationalism, which was the precursor for war. We're right there, folks. People are complacent again. They've not had war on home soil for so long and bombs dropping. They don't even know what it means anymore, these new generations. Shane, thanks for waking me up. Tell me this, Shaun. Wonderful. You know, it's our esteemed expert guests that have woke me up and enhanced my own beliefs when we've got people like Scott Ritter, who the Bush crime family offered millions to say Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, and he refused, and they criminalized him, and they're still hounding him to this day. FBI raided his house recently. All right, so Alex Jones was right about this. Yes, Michael. And he supported Trump. Geraldine, Americans still see Trump as some sort of savior when he's just a puppet like the rest of them. He's in the files, which we won't ever get to see them. According to Elon, yeah. Check the date, 22nd of the 6th, 1941. Says Nadia. Francis sees a trend. Remember, Obama said if it's not willing, they always have to twist the arms. Yeah, Iran's forcing the world to start bombing the crap out of it. Yeah, right. Nathan, Trump was elected promising to end two wars. Instead, there are 3 wars now. Possibly World War III, indeed. Elon said that Trump won't release the Epstein files because he's in them. But I do believe Elon has since apologized and they've kissed and made up. Trump probably threatened to pull Elon's government contracts. Rick, you could tell Kash Patel had been threatened. They swatted his house the night before his appearance on Rogan. Threatened Tulsi, who did a 180. Threatened family, probably same here. Yeah, indeed. I'm just wondering how long before YouTube starts threatening people over this as well. Make hay while the sun shines with our experts, I say. Gloria, clearly the neocons had this war planned. Indeed, they did. Project for a New American Century. Wesley Clark, regardless of whom was elected president, now we know why the elites built bunkers on their estates. They knew this war was an inevitable. MAGA. Exactly, Gloria. And good luck to the elites surviving these attacks when they come out to this nuclear winter. And Wesley Clark, it was the Wesley Clark interview on Iran. You know, the plan. Do you want to get that one up for old time's sake? Just to remind any viewers who are in here now who haven't looked, we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years. Put a 1 in the chat if you'd like me to put that up, because it's a day when this is so very pertinent, folks, to look at General Wesley Clark's words. I've just found it right here. Let's see what he said. Let's get this one on the screen and add to the stage. There we go. Let's make it big. And let's see what Wesley said. Because there's a whole new young generations now who have not seen this stuff, who we need to help wake up as well.
11. About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today. And he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you."
I'm sorry, what did you say his name was?
I'm not going to give you his name.
So go through the countries again.
Well, starting with Iraq, then Syria and Lebanon, then Libya, then Somalia and Sudan, and then back to Iran. So when you look at Iran, you say, is it a replay? It's not exactly a replay, but here's the truth. That Iran from the beginning has seen that the presence of the United States in Iraq was a threat. A blessing, because we took out Saddam Hussein and the Baathists. They couldn't handle them. We took care of it for them. But also a threat because they knew that they were next on the hit list.
There you have it, folks. Iran is known for a long time. They were next on the hit list. They've been preparing for this. And China and Russia are going to stand up this time, folks. I mean, the backlash, absolute backlash against this all over the world right now. It's insane. You know, how is Trump going to keep going against his own voters? Taking us to war against his own voters. Put a 1 in the chat if you think Iran is going to just bowl over now and negotiate peace. Put a 2 in the chat if you think Iran is going to step up, fire at U.S. military interests. possibly fire at, Dubai, etc. If other countries such as Pakistan are going to come in now and defend Iran, and this whole thing is just going to escalate. Nearly all twos I see in the chat right now. And yep, this we knew it was going to get to here. Wesley Clark just told us it was coming years ago. And there ain't no stopping it now. It's in motion. Taking Iran offering peace isn't in the script, folks. They make the terms impossible for Iran to agree to. That's what's in the script next. So they can keep all this going. Anyway, I've been up early. This is my first stream on this. I'm going to be back at 2. And our guest at 2 is retired Major General Dennis Leitch. 35 years in the U.S. Army, a fierce critic of the military draft, and he authored Skin in the Game about endless wars, and he describes the inner workings of the military-industrial complex. So I hope to see some of you at 2, and let's all pray for peace, because indeed, they've put in all of our lives on the line, folks. This is why I feel so passionately about this. Baby Ziggy, your families, your children's, wherever you are in the world, you need to be concerned. Even if it's not all-out nuclear war, the waves of migration that's going to come, the crimes that are going to come with it, the people from Iran who are going to be pissed off at the UK and the US, who may do domestic attacks on our home soil. They look at themselves as freedom fighters. The globalists are going to call them terrorists and use them just to keep wars going. But that's all coming, folks, because of what's happened today. This not a decision by Trump. This is not a decision by Trump. Trump is just trying to save face, and he's just playing along with the globalist agenda. But what's happened today is putting all our lives on the line. So let's wake people up and get as much pressure as possible online to try and stop these forces of evil